The Knicks not on to the Eastern Conference Finals just yet. Maybe not at all if they continue playing like they did in this game. They lose 127 to 102 to the Celtics in just a horrendous second half collapse. We're getting into it right now on Locked On Knicks.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, welcome into Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast. I'm Alex Wolf. I'm editor-in-chief of Knicks site, The Strickland, which you can find at thestrick.land. And he's Gavin Shaw, your favorite play-by-play broadcaster, and the Saturday co-host of the Locked On NBA podcast. And today we are going to be going over a loss. 127 to 102. The Knicks lose to the Celtics. No fun. Chance to close this series out in 5, potentially get some big rest. The Eastern Conference Finals schedule came out today and revealed that the first game won't be till Wednesday. So the Knicks could have had a week off to get ready for the Eastern Conference Finals, but instead we'll be playing again on Friday. We're going to take you through all the crap that led to that in just a second. But first, we want to thank you all for making Locked On Knicks first listen today and every day. Whether you're checking us out on your favorite podcast platform or taking in the sights and sounds on YouTube, we appreciate you making us part of your daily routine. Make sure you hit the auto download function on your favorite podcast app or the notification bell on YouTube so you never miss an episode like this week, where we'll now be doing an extra episode, all for your benefit. Thanks to the Knicks making it so that they're going to be playing on Friday. Gavin, let's get right into this absolute stinker of a game. The Knicks lose by 25 points. Somehow the worst game of this series thus far, which it didn't feel for much of it, but they go into halftime tied at 59 with Boston. They had gone up by, I think they hit double digits one time.
Nine was the biggest lead. It was 40, 9 33. Yeah.
Close. So they got up by 9 points in the first half and then thought, our work here is done, and then proceeded to just crap that away leading into halftime. And you sort of had a feeling that things were not looking super good, but I don't think anyone could have imagined just how bad they looked at the beginning of the third quarter. The starters get basically run off the floor. Tibbs waits until I think 3 minutes and change before he makes his first sub to get Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson in, who were both extremely additive in the first half. So it's a wonder that he didn't go to them sooner. Nobody in this game looked good. I mean, whatever you want to say about the reffing, Jalen Brunson gets 5 fouls in just the third quarter, fouls out early on or early-ish on into the fourth quarter to remove himself from the equation. Karl-Anthony Towns was in foul trouble for pretty much the entire game. Can't even crack 30 minutes. OG Anunoby shoots 1 of 12. He looked just horrendous in this game. Mikal Bridges largely invisible for large stretches of this game. Once again, only 9 points for him and a team low minus 25. Maybe the only guy who sort of showed up to play today was Josh Hart with 24 points, mostly because he was getting left alone constantly by Boston. But he certainly was not without his lapses on defense either. Gavin, that poo-poo platter, I'll let you take the first stab at it. Which little nugget you want to go after first?
Which turd do I get to eat first?
Yep.
In this poop feast. All right. Hopefully we're. There might be more poop references. We'll see how this one goes. It was a total collapse in the second half. RIP the Mikal Bridges layup line. Good vibes. Third quarters. Those are dead. Apparently, instead, third quarter of doom is back. A lot of blame to go around. You highlighted it. Any game where Cat has one more field goal than fouls, and to your point, the Wings combined 5 for 26. Going to be hard to win. Weirdly, my mind first goes to, maybe Tom Thibodeau, but we'll I think we'll touch on him as we touch on each guy individually. Josh Hart is probably where my mind goes first, and that's counterintuitive because to your point, like statistically, you look at the box score, he probably has the best game of anyone. Maybe clearly has the best game of anyone. You watch the game, you see him doing a lot of good and making like those hustle plays. Like in the first half, had a rebound where he like beat Kristaps Porzingis, took it coast to coast, finished on Jaylen Brown. The threes were going down, but I think this one highlighted the lack of tenability of playing him against the Boston Celtics, and the Knicks on the thinnest of margins in this series have kind of been able to skate around what I thought would be the back-breaking matchup, which is just the fact that Boston plays a big and doesn't guard Hart, which basically completely takes out Karl-Anthony Towns, and Hart then completely takes out himself by not being aggressive enough. And in some ways, this was a continuation of that, right? On a night where he shoots 5 for 9 from 3, like, I'll say what I always say. I'd rather he was 5 for 17. Like, he passed up a bunch of open ones. And there were also times where, like, Jalen Brunson and other guys on this team, he was open and they looked him off. But I kind of understand it if he's not willing to shoot them. That was extremely frustrating. My greatest frustration, though, came on the defensive end, where Alex, this team coached by Tom Thibodeau, who is known for like, his teams nail the details, right? They don't mess up the little things. They don't beat themselves. That's their reputation. At least this year, it has not really been true for the New York Knicks, because I have rarely, almost to the point, like, even the garbage, the poopy, one more poop reference, Knicks teams we watched in our early days doing this podcast, I don't remember them being this poor in transition defense. They were probably similarly poor in terms of knowing their assignments, when to switch, when not to switch, because this team botches it constantly. And Josh Hart gave up 3 different threes in that 22-9 or 15-3 run that put the Celtics up 84-70 in the third quarter. And the Knicks basically never had a chance from there. And it was over and over again, right? Like ADHD for Josh Hart in transition. Like, he goes to contest Drew Holiday when Drew Holiday's already covered. Derek White hits a trail 3. That was Hart's man. 2 plays later, fouls White on a 3. Couple plays after that, leaves Pritchard in the corner to triple team, not the double team, to triple team Jaylen Brown on a drive. Brown makes it admittedly great pass over his head. Pritchard hits a corner 3. Guy just does not learn his lesson, like, is inattentive defensively. And it's almost like the Russell Westbrook experience of the East, where he does so much good and, like, creates so much havoc, and in some ways is so additive. It actually is a great shooting night. And yet, like, he's the first guy I go to when the Knicks lose this game, because on top of all that, Luke Cornett is roaming off him the whole night. Luke Cornett, who did not play for the Knicks once upon a time, 7 blocks in this game, nearly a triple-double, arguably the best player on the court on either team. And I think a big part of the reason why, like, not to excuse OG sucked, but I think Cornett roaming off of Hart, like, big reason why OG Anunoby is 1 for 12.
Yeah, I mean, because OG and others just continually got inside and just got absolutely swallowed up by Cornett. Hart himself even got a 3 blocked by Cornett at one point, which just kind of underscored, like, it was that little bit of hesitation that Hart had in going up for that shot that even allowed Cornett the time to then come out and close and get the block on it. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to, like, it's tough for me, at least, to put as much of it on Hart, but there is just something to be said for the fact that, like, this guy played almost the most minutes of anyone in this game. Well, I guess he played slightly less than OG and about 4 minutes less than Mikal Bridges, but, you know, it just goes to show, like, yeah, there needs to be more of a leash for when he's just not feeling it shooting the ball. Make him the first sub out in the third quarter or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be rocket science. Like, just take him out early. You get plenty of opportunities to put him back in, hopefully against a bench unit then, where he does the most damage anyway. It doesn't make any sense to keep going with it when things aren't working. And that was kind of my main takeaway, was that that third quarter run is, like, what was Tibbs doing? Like, it's obvious the team comes out, they're flat. They're not doing well on defense. And, you know, look, whatever. Like, yes, Brunson gets in foul trouble, which is super uncharacteristic. Like, it's so rare that you ever see him in foul trouble like that. All five fouls called in just the third quarter. Like, you can go back and look at them. I think some of them were maybe a little ticky-tack. Doesn't matter. You got to smarten up. Like, he was playing stupid. He was reaching. He was doing stupid things. He needs to be the one guy that cannot make mistakes on defense, because I think the biggest thing to happen that made the defense blow up late in that third quarter is Brunson gets in foul trouble. Now Brunson, who's already not the world's greatest defender, can't even pretend to defend anymore.
Great point.
Like, and they literally, I mean, they had to change their whole defense strategy. Suddenly you can't, not that they were doing a great job of switching everything in this game, which, again, I don't understand what it's going to take for them to just stick to that strategy. The Celtics
It's
haven't
not
been
hard. Like the whole point of it is you don't have to think.
It's the
There's
easiest
no thinking
strategy.
involved. Yeah.
And the Sixers, wow, weird. The Celtics can't beat it. Like, the
Yeah.
Celtics can't beat it. They haven't been able to beat it this whole series.
And they
Like,
don't have Tatum, who's the best guy at beating it. But
exactly. It doesn't make any sense to me. But Brunson is like the one guy that can't afford to screw up on D like that. Like, we talk about like, oh, Cat getting in foul trouble is a pain, but the good news of that is that you have Mitchell Robinson behind him, and Mitch can step in and arguably be more effective in this series with how he plays. I mean, we've seen it. His plus minus is the best on the team during the series, and he still managed to be a minus in this game. But everyone, as Clyde might say, was a plus minus in this game. So not exactly a red mark on him in this one. But, it's just like you have more of an insurance policy behind Karl-Anthony Towns. Jalen Brunson, you don't. Campaign is unplayable. He is not playable. I don't understand how the guy who literally won the Knicks the first game of this playoffs now can get on the floor and be so utterly useless. But he sucks. He does not deserve to be on the floor anymore. If I never see him play another minute of Knicks basketball at this point, I'm probably okay, because he has crapped the bed so hard since that first game against Detroit and been completely unplayable. And I don't understand how we go from one to the other. But I mean, he got out there in the first half, had his token, 4 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes and 6 seconds. They were horrible. It was a horrible 5 minutes. He was like, it was just, he's not giving you anything on offense other than just chucking threes when, even if he's out of rhythm, whatever, which fine, he's a spark plug, whatever, I get it. But then on defense, just committing stupid foul after stupid foul, he's unplayable. So now it's even more imperative that Jalen Brunson not ever get in foul trouble, because he can't, because they don't have another guy that can handle the ball. We had to see like multiple minutes of Josh Hart essentially running point guard and then trying to like hand it off to Mikal Bridges, trying to get something going.
yeah.
It doesn't work. You cannot do that. Like, Deuce McBride, still, as much as I love the guy, not there. He's not like a point guard. He's a small shooting guard. They don't have another point guard behind Jalen Brunson that can like credibly run this offense for minutes and minutes at a time. So they need him to not make those sort of fouls again. And whether he wants to say they were ticky-tack, whether some of them, maybe upon review might not have been fouls, not including the last one, which they did review and was in fact a foul, I guess. Like, it's not an excuse. Like, if you get in foul trouble, even if it's ticky-tack, you have to play more careful. He didn't play more careful. I don't know. Sorry, that's such a rant, but it just, his play, I honestly think, for me, Brunson was the one in many ways that annoyed me the most in this game, because it was so key with things slipping away that he not let go of the rope here and not get frustrated and not commit stupid fouls. And even the last one, as it happened, I was like, what are you doing? Like, he intentionally stepped in front of Jaylen Brown, I guess trying to draw. He wasn't even really trying to draw a charge. He wasn't
Trying to like fight through a screen.
like,
They kind of grabbed him. Yeah.
exactly. It's just it's like, play smarter, dude. Like, you are the most important guy on this team. You cannot get in foul trouble. Like, you need to play like adequate enough defense. And if they make shots over your outstretched hand without you closing too hard, so be it. Let them do that. But like, Jalen Brunson not being able to play any defense makes it so this whole team can't play defense the way that's working for them. And that needs to not happen. So yeah, that's my takeaway, my angry rant. But I mean, we can get a little more granular in just a moment when we get back in, start talking through some more individual player performances, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, way more than we didn't like in this game than we liked, unfortunately. And then of course we'll talk about how they could potentially close this thing out at home in just a moment when we get back in to Locked On Knicks. But first, we wanted to let you know about our friends over at WayFair. And the days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or a small balcony, WayFair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. WayFair's massive selection of outdoor essentials make it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all, and at prices that fit your budget. They're coming right for me with this advertisement. I'm in a new house, and the one thing my wife and I have not pulled the trigger on yet is some new outdoor furniture for our nice new deck. I got to get a grill at some point too, because I want to entertain outside. But I'm definitely going to be hitting WayFair soon, checking out this stuff I'm reading about right now. This sounds pretty great. But I've been there before. I've ordered furniture. I've gotten gotten things for my house, shelving units, whatever. It's great, affordable furniture that you can get delivered right to your door. So shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with WayFair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WayFair.com. WayFair, every style, every home. All right, Gavin, we're back in to keep talking through this loss, unfortunately. I wish we could just call it after one segment. But
I mean, the Knicks did, so we would be well within our right to do the
that,
same.
that's true. I'd say that, like,
Yeah.
in the grand
Bye,
scheme of
guys.
this, yeah, in the grand scheme of this episode, we're probably to about the point where the Knicks got the 9-point lead and decided to stop playing today. So maybe, yeah, we just, in solidarity, let's just hit the closing track.
Solidarity.
Yeah, solidarity. We'll be just as lazy as them.
Yeah, you know, you know what? Alex Tibbs lets the game tell him what to do. We let the game tell us what to do.
We're letting the game tell us what to do here.
Tell us we don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, that's certainly what the game is telling me right now. Anyway, I do want to talk about OG Anunoby, who I think I don't know. Similarly, I think had a little bit of like trigger shyness in this game to a degree. I think that maybe once the first couple, I'm gonna look real quick and see what his first half 3 point 1 of 4 in the first half from three, and then 0 of 1 in the second half for a grand total of 1 of 5. Just 6 points on 1 of 12 shooting. I mean, we've said it a million times, but like this guy is sort of like his scoring, I think, is one of the greatest like bellwethers of this team to tell you, like, are they having a good night? Are they having a bad night? Like, if OG is going, it seems so often that if he's at 20 points or flirting with 20 points, the Knicks are probably winning the game. If he's nowhere close, they're probably going to lose because they really rely on him to be that third scoring presence, to be that like guy that can drive to the inside, finish through contact, whatever. I wonder if a little bit he actually suffered a bit from the Tatum injury in this game, because I think that the Celtics definitely, through the Cornet strategy of keeping him off Hart, were loading up heavy on OG's drives, because I think that with Tatum out there, they were trusting Tatum with that assignment often and having him kind of try to, keep in front of OG and keep him away from the hoop and just try to overpower him, because Tatum's a tall, strong dude that's roughly the size of OG. And without him in there, it seemed like the plan was, okay, if OG's going to put it on the ground against like Jalen Brown or whatever, we're going to send excessive help to the inside in the form of Luke Cornet, who's, Knicks fans are familiar, 7'2", hulking mass of a man that can get up there and block a shot. And it just felt like he did that so many times. I didn't look to see how many of his blocks were on OG. You could have told me that every one but the blocked Hart 3 was off an OG Anunoby take, and I would believe it, because that's what it felt like. They need to find some way to, first off, get Luke Cornet out of the paint, but then secondly, to get OG going in the next game, I think, if they want to close this thing out in 6 games.
Yeah, he's a mystery to me. And I will be the first to admit, like when I talk about Josh Hart at the beginning, like I have a soft spot for OG. I feel like I'm less critical of him than probably anyone else on this team. Maybe him and Brunson and Deuce are in that category. But terrible night. I mean, very similar to game 2, game 3, when he had the horrible shooting night. I think he was pretty poor in both. Like the Knicks, to some extent, like rise and fall based on how he's doing on both ends of the floor. And I was kind of encouraged by his start, because it was sort of what you and Ariel talked about yesterday in the pod, like where he defensively was able to roam up Brown, like was making a difference. Like he stripped KP when he was trying to post up Jalen Brunson. By the way, it was no coincidence that things started going the Celtics way. The second in the first quarter, they sub out Kristaps Porzingis to put in Luke Cornet. They immediately go on a 10-3 run. KP, genuinely hope he feels better, because I don't know what's going on with him, but he is clearly not himself in any way. But the Knicks had an advantage when he was on the floor, and OG was like really good at help on him. And then that was pretty much it for the night for OG Anunoby. Like I thought a defining sequence was when he missed a contested midi. Mitch, this was a theme with Mitch, flies over everyone, gets the offensive rebound, gets it right back to him, and then he misses again. Short foul line jumper, wide open, and it hits front rim. And it just seems like, I don't know if the hammies bothering him again. Maybe that's my tendency, is to give him an out, but that's plausible. I didn't think he was moving great laterally. You saw him like part of the reason the Knicks got into the bonus so early in the third quarter is because he was fouling guys, but he just like couldn't keep up with them. So that is something I'm looking at and something that concerns me because even if the Knicks do get through, I think they need apex OG. We saw even like when he was healthy, the first game and a half of the series against the Pacers, or 2.5 games. I can't remember. He was having trouble with Pascal Siakam. So that is something to watch going forward. And the Knicks were at times like the biggest thing with Hart. It is like I'll circle back on that because it's still sort of my biggest takeaway of this game. Like if they're not going to guard him, like it comes down to Tibbs. Like how much are you going to weaponize that? And it was sort of the catch-22 that I thought would probably doom the Knicks in this series. It's that like all right, like if they're not going to guard him, like he can shoot open threes. You can use him to set like pin-in screens to get other guys open threes. You can use him as a dribble handoff guy. And the Knicks did that well in the first half, and it got Jalen Brunson going at times. There was a play where it got Cat a wide open three because he ran a pick and roll between Hart and Brunson, and Hart dove, and then Brunson sprayed it out, and Cat was wide open top of the arc. But I say that to say, like if you are relying on Josh Hart for that much of your offense, you're running that much of your offense through him, you've probably already lost the battle against a team as good as the Celtics. And to that point, he was generating a couple open threes, including one for OG off of dribble handoffs, and OG just like bricked it. So on a night where like he wasn't shooting well, on a night where Mikal wasn't shooting well, it made it difficult to do that and to use Hart as a screener. And I thought that bogged down the Knicks' whole offense. And like Brunson, like I know you said you were down on him, like, and I wasn't like frustrating second half, but he was the Knicks' whole offense in the first half. Like everything was him scoring or him setting up Josh Hart to score pretty much. And like it was a lot of tough shots. It was a lot of bailout shots late in the clock. And without that, like the Knicks, despite taking that 9-point lead, would have been down by even more at halftime. And when that didn't sustain going to the second half, this whole thing kind of collapsed on itself. And Alex, if you want to continue this, like I think then you look to Karl-Anthony Towns, who was actually getting a better whistle in this game, right? Some of it came late, but was 8 for 9 from the free throw line. And yet, like the final numbers are fine. But anyone who watched the game, like while this one was competitive, like he really did not have any kind of impact on this game, and then compounded it with just incredibly stupid fouls on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, kind of the worst of the Cat experience where you could see the outline of a really good game in front of you, and he derails it by getting into foul trouble. And then also Tibbs kind of derails it by not realizing, like, hey, this guy might have something going on offense. And honestly, he's had something going on offense for most of this series. Like, and just they haven't been able to find creative ways to get him involved. Let's talk about it more in just a second. We'll talk through Cat. We'll talk through Mikal Bridges and the enigma that is Mikal Bridges in this latest disappearing act in this game. We can talk through the bench a little bit. You know, maybe the one positive. Okay, two positives that we'll get to. Mitchell Robinson, 100% from the free throw line for a game, and Pacom Dadier's first points
Nice.
in a postseason game in what will hopefully be an illustrious Knicks career. So it's two positives on this rainy day when we get back in just a moment. All right, Gavin, we're back in to keep talking through this game to maybe shut the door on the Cat discourse a little bit. I'm with you in that he was getting a better whistle in this game. Like the fact that he matched Jalen Brunson in free throw attempts. Jalen Brunson, who, if you look at anyone on Twitter today, oh, he just flops all the time. It's anytime the Knicks lose, it's all Jalen Brunson does is flop. It's like I would argue he probably could have had more free throw attempts in this game.
I will say at the start of the fourth quarter, he was a great success flopping a little bit because the Knicks couldn't do anything else. But
yeah, I mean, even the one that everyone is like making a stink about, where he hit Horford's foot going over. I mean, that's still a trip technically, I think. Yeah. Like I didn't think
that was last game, or did that happen again this game? I can't.
This one, yeah, this game,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, so 2 in a row. Okay, got it.
Yeah, this one actually got challenged. That was the one that was challenged, and then everybody on the jumbotron was looking. It was like he just fell over, but it's like no, like he was driving, and Horford got enough, barely, but he got enough in his way that Brunson tripped over his foot. Like that's a foul. Sorry, buddy, that's a trip. Anyway, regardless, it's I think that they need to do a better job of getting Cat involved. I mean, the thing was, like, we saw him make 1-3 in this game, and like it was, I don't know, marginally okay setup if I recall correctly. It was just like a quick, I'm actually rewatching it as we're talking here. It was literally like a Hart, like,
He has the Hart
light
dive play that I
screen.
mentioned. Yeah, where he
Yeah,
rolled, the
exactly.
cat was open. Yeah.
And it's like, why don't you run that more? It's just I don't understand it. Like, they get this early in the game. That's part of, getting their offense going a little bit, and then you never see anything like it for the whole rest of the game. And, meanwhile, Cat is shooting well from the free throw line. That's the type of thing where you could start drawing people out to the 3-point line then, and then also punish them on the inside potentially. Or, if Cat drives and then can keep his head up, look for a cutting Josh Hart, look for a cutting OG once Luke Cornett is distracted with Cat, who is the guy that, in theory, is the guy that should distract Cornett the most, but also could potentially get a shot up over him. And, is one of the only guys that could score on that sort of interior presence when he's playing as well as he is in this game, or maybe get him into foul trouble. Cornett's been in foul trouble in like every game of the series, largely from just being used as a goon to foul Mitch, but like, he's not immune to that. Like, he can get into foul trouble, try to bait the guy a little bit. I don't know. There's just so many things that feel, against a Jayson Tatumless Celtics team, like kind of low hanging fruit for a team as talented as the Knicks are. And they just weren't going to any of it in this game. And I think that, like, one of the main things is not getting Cat involved, though. Again, the guy shoots himself in the foot so often. And, he had the fourth personal foul, I think, very early in the third quarter. It made it a really difficult decision on, like, whether to keep him out there or whether to, roll the dice, like, whatever, like, or just take him out. And he wound up having to get taken out for a bit, after the, I mean, he did get a long run out there before Tibbs finally made the substitution. But it seemed like that just kind of, again, him and Brunson both with 4 fouls at the same time, and then Brunson picking up the 5th one shortly thereafter. It's just like, it made it really difficult. Like, they're infinitely exploitable if both of those two were in foul trouble. And that's exactly what Boston did. They were just luring them into actions over and over. Get Brunson and Cat both at the level, and then make them try to figure out a switch together, make them try to figure out how both of them cannot foul you together. Like, it was a huge mess. I think that's what led to a lot of the points in the fourth, when things like really, really slipped away for the Knicks here, before Brunson fouled out, obviously. But anyway, moving right along, Mikal Bridges disappears again as well. 39.5 minutes. Could have fooled me. 9 points on 4 of 14 shooting. And just, the guy just goes through stretches where he can't make a damn shot. I don't understand it. It's like he was taking 3-pointers, and, he goes 1 of 3 from 3. He's even missing some of his signature shots, from mid-range that he was hitting in previous games. Has one small flurry, but that's pretty much where he did all of his damage. I think it was in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. He had, like, what was it, like 6 points or something?
He's good to start the game, but
only 2 in the third quarter. Jeez, I guess I'm misremembering, but either way, not great. Not a great effort from Mikal Bridges, and it's exhausting watching this guy sometimes, because you just start talking yourself into the idealized version of him, and then he puts forth a game like this. Annoying, to say the least, Gavin. That's kind of where I'm at on the Bridges experience after today.
Yeah, I'll hit on Cat real quick first. To me, it is like, I agree with you that, like, the usage is not ideal, though. I think Tibbs, I'll give him some credit again. Like, the last 3 games and really this whole series, like, shout out to our guy Shax, who does great work over at the Strickland. And just, if you follow his Twitter, like, constantly, like, tweeting out, like, plays and sets and organized offense rates for the Knicks. Like, if you follow him, and you trust his research, like, the Knicks have been running, like, some of the highest rates of organized offense in this series that they have this entire season. And I think, like, if we accept the idea, which is a bad thing to accept, that this offense is incapable of, like, generating cat threes, like, they've done a pretty good job getting offense for him. Like, I think the play you mentioned and I mentioned to get him the 3, like, I think that was called, I would assume. They had, like, the second game in a row. If you go to DJ Zulo's account, he has a video of this, like, where they run, like, a little, like, stay below play for him, which is what you kept seeing Mikal get during the stretch of games where Brunson was at, where, like, he'll set that off ball screen and then he'll just, like, roll to the rim, like, before, and just stay under the switch. So, like, they never have an opportunity to actually switch onto him. And he got free throws off of that, if I'm remembering. Yeah, he got free throws off of that. Was drawing fouls early, but, like, to me, it's personnel based. And if you were just willing to try Deuce in Hart's place with the starters, I think you'd come to realize that, like, you could cook with Karl-Anthony Towns because Al Horford can't really guard him, as we saw in game 2. Like Luke Cornett, to your point, one-on-one cannot guard him. And guess what you can't do if Josh Hart's not in the game? All of a sudden, that big has to be guarding Karl-Anthony Towns, and you can run pick and roll, and you can run pick and pop. And Tom Thibodeau, because the starters admittedly put together an extraordinary 12-minute stretch of basketball in the third quarter of game 4. And that's great. And we love that. And hopefully they can do that again. But the overwhelming sample size at this point is that they are not a super effective lineup. And throughout this series, Alex, as the light comes on above me, like the basketball gods shining on me. Also, my light's broken in my room. The overwhelming evidence just within this series is that the Knicks are far better when any lineups on the floor that's not the starters. They are vastly positive with Mitch on the floor. Jalen Brunson and Deuce is vastly positive as a two-man combination. Like, if you just put Deuce in for Josh, like, I really think, especially without Jayson Tatum, because the size on the wing and like the idea of Tatum just picking on Deuce is off the table now. To me, it seems all the more tenable to play the guy. And while I don't think he was great in the second half, I think his defense has not been perfect in this series, though he had like a great steal pressuring Pritchard in the backcourt. Like, he's unlike the Pistons series, like he's back to making shots. And even when he was missing shots against the Pistons, like the Knicks were still better when Deuce was on the court. So like that, this isn't like to prove my agenda. It's just that like Boston, like the way they're shutting down the Knicks completely goes away if Josh Hart is on the floor. And to your point, that doesn't mean play Josh Hart 0 minutes. It just means play him more like 28 minutes instead of 36, because I think that screws the Knicks. I think it screws OG. I think even Mikal, like, who, to your point, like OG and Mikal, like they weren't good. Like they've had great games in this series with Josh on the floor. So you absolutely cannot put it all on that. But like their life is obviously harder with Josh on the floor. So I'm sorry for going back to that for a third time, but that is just like where I fall in this game. And like, again, Tibbs, the quote is like, let the game tell you what to do. The guy rarely lets the game tell him what to do. So there's that. You want to finish on some positives and then we'll call it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say actually it directly flows into who I want to talk about next anyway. And Mitchell Robinson, like,
yeah.
Even if you, okay, fine. Like, let's say the Tibbs looks at this and says, well, you can't have Deuce out there with Brunson because like blah, blah, blah defense or whatever, even though that's like, obviously we know that's crap at this point, but we know how Tibbs' brain works also. Yeah. Throw Mitch out there then. I mean, he loves that. Put Mitch in for Hart a little earlier. Like, that's the other way that you can negate someone like Cornette having a really good game is like, he can't stay off of Mitch because Mitch is so dominant on the offensive glass that like he had 6 offensive rebounds in under 20 minutes in this game, or sorry, 23 minutes in this game. 6 offensive rebounds in that amount of time. Crushed the defensive glass too. 13 total boards in like just over 20 minutes. 8 points, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Like for once, he's not getting, there's nothing that the other team can do to get him off the floor in this game because he's making his free throws. Like, if Mitch can turn a possession into a 2-point per possession just by getting intentionally fouled, that's not good strategy anymore. And the Celtics realized that, and they weren't able to keep like fouling him as a result. Like, play him more. He had a great game. Like he was doing all the right things. Like, that is how you can negate Luke Cornett, is that they can't have Luke Cornett sag off of Mitch like they can have him sag off of Hart, because Mitch will just get unlimited offensive rebounds. Like, he will literally sit there and get you 5 extra possessions until you make a GD shot. So like, try that. Like, try anything earlier is the thing that Tibbs needs to do. And like, for a guy that, I don't know, am I bugging? Like, didn't he used to have a quicker trigger? Like when things look like garbage, like I can remember so many times where he would like call a timeout like 3 minutes into a half and throw a couple new guys out there. Like, I don't know what has convinced him that this starting group is so infallible. Like, maybe he's just looking at stats from October through December or whatever still, when they were like one of the best offensive groups in the league. But like, they have not been that group for a while now, since teams kind of figured them out, started defending Hart differently, realized that the Knicks aren't going to run a ton of sets like for Cat, whatever, and have realized that they can just kind of like have guys floating around. Try to punish that somehow. Like, have Mitch out there to get the offensive rebounds, play rebound skip ball like you used to a number of years ago. Like, there's so many ways around this. I just feel like they did nothing. It's like Tibbs pushed every button like 5 minutes too late in this game.
Yeah.
It's like he was sitting at the controls, and like every other game he's been pretty good about like pushing the button at the right time. And this one, like, I don't know, to make a different reference than buttons, like, is this like a game of whack-a-mole? Last game he was hitting them all in the head. This game, it was like, the mole would pop up, he'd sit there, and then as the mole is on its descent, he's trying to hit it and it's just missing. It's like you're missing the point. Like he's missing everything in service of just trying to keep the starters out there, I guess, or whatever. And it cost him in this game, but everything just kind of rolled into one. All the foul trouble, not paying attention on defense, all these various things, all of it just really bit the Knicks in the butt. I'll just, in the interest of ending on my last note, then you could say whatever the heck you want and just sign us off because I got nothing left to say. Again, I'll just mention Paco Mdadier, first 2 points of his NBA playoff career. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't score anything.
No, I don't. I think that was it. I can double check. Keep going though.
I'm pretty sure this is the first points of his NBA playoff career. So, with that being the case, congrats to him.
This is the first time he played. Yep.
Yeah. So there we go. All right, cool. So congrats to Paco Mdadier. That was great. Other than that, let's just leave this crap sandwich of a game behind us, and hopefully they can close this thing out on Friday.
I love the Kevin Harlan stat that Pacom played less minutes than any first round pick. I thought was fitting on a night where we're all upset with Tibbs. But my last note: this is the fourth straight time the Knicks have lost in their first opportunity to clinch the series. Obviously, got it done the second time against the Sixers. Last year, did not against the Pacers. Did against the Pistons. We'll see if they do it this time. But it's kind of what I said yesterday. Like this team, does not handle success well. We see it over and over again. There was another quote, just like the one Brunson had after game 2 from Mikal Bridges, quote, just got to play desperate. I don't think we did that. We've got to come out aggressive throughout the whole game. I don't know if these guys are exhausted because they played too many minutes. I don't know if they're hurt. I don't know if they're emotionally muted at this point, but it is inexcusable. And Boston, sure, they're not as dangerous without Jayson Tatum, but there are, to your point, in how they changed things with Cornette and how fast they moved the ball in this game and how much they got other guys involved and how confident Jalen Brown played. It's very similar to when Brunson went out for the Knicks, Bill Simmons Ewing theory. You lose your best player, in the aggregate, you're going to get worse generally, but there's some margins in which you will improve. And this team is still very, very good. There is not a massive gap between the talent the Knicks have and the talent Boston has. And if the Knicks play stupid lineups and they don't play with great effort, they're going to lose this series. And it's going to be honestly borderline more embarrassing than just getting swept, like having a 3-1 lead, Jayson Tatum out for a year and you still blow this. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully Jalen Brunson just by himself does not let that happen. Great opportunity to close it out at home for once. We'll see if they get it done. We'll be with you then. We'll have one episode before then. But until that point, he's Alex and Gavin. We'll talk to you very soon over on Locked On Knicks.